Welcome back, true believers. This is I'm Jody Ritz, and this is another week of Cleflin Nights for the gaming that took place on 13 December 2016. We last left our heroes in Earth 210, and not really our heroes in this case, but villains. Villains meaning Max Eisenhart and his team. He had brought on board his ship Joel Hastings, which is a player character. It's supposed to be a hero, but Joel got his download, which was triggered by Alex. But this is also Joel from this world, not Christopher Lord, from Earth 210. And he wakes up and meets, well, now that he has his download, and this download is basically a thing that allows all of the person who's role playing the character's memories to go into the character as sort of an update. And when they get this, it can change a lot of their actions because now they know stuff that's outside the game. But it keeps us from arguing over consistently. Well, you wouldn't know that. So usually it's a once a day thing. And so now that he has this download, he goes out and he self-imposed himself to his room on board Max's ship, Magneto's ship, Magneto and the Alkalites. He stays in there because he doesn't want Max to tell him what to do. So he puts his suit to close up his ears and his eyes, so he can't be triggered on any of the any. So he can't. How do you say it? Can't be just told what to do. So, but now that he's got this download, he feels a little bit more self confident, and he goes out and talks to Cassandra, Cassandra Xavier, who's there on board, as well as Ray Forge, Peter Petrelli, and Max is currently off the ship. He's recruiting down there in Odessa, Texas. And down over here in Texas, yay. So he's there and makes, while he's talking to them, he just revealing to them that he knows more about them than he should, because he's got these outside memories, which is really out of character for the Joel to do, but it's making changes. When Max comes back aboard with Claire Bennett, who he had recently recruited for the team, the cheerleader, yes. Joel gets to sit down with Max and explains to Max about the deal. Max did make a deal on this world with Wanda, which is what everybody has to do on any of the 10 worlds, Earth 10s and 210s, to make their teams. They get this lightning ship and a bunch of other things. If you want more, ask more questions about the deal, I'll do a video on it. So far I haven't gotten crap. But I'm going to keep this up and see how it goes over the next 10 years. We'll see if anybody's even interested. But anyways, they're sitting on the bridge and they're having this discussion, and it turns out that Max is interested in the things that Joel has to say, and he wants to talk to Wanda. So they both call Wanda up on the intercom, and then that's where we ended that segment. And from there, we go to Earth 210.6 or 210 Clefland. It's a city called Varsity, VAR City, and that's with the C. And like I explained last week, it's an amalgamation of Gotham and New York. Alex is there, and he's got Hope Spaulding's powers, Chris Ritz with Clarice Ferguson's powers, and Christopher Lord with Megan Morse's powers. They're trying to escape this underground facility, which they they believe that they were cloned into. They were in these tubes and they got out of them. And there's several layers underground. And eventually they find an elevator. Well, Alex makes a silly decision, say, hey, I'm going to teleport us up to the elevator. Well, he doesn't realize that he's cloned or copied Clarice Ferguson's teleportation at day one level. And she could, when she first got her powers, if anybody remembers in the comics, Blink, she would destroy everything that she took with her. And so Alex tore these guys up, did huge amount of damage to them. Not really Chris Ritz, because he's already got that power, but he did do damage to the Martian amongst them, Christopher Lord, or Powers of a Martian. They get on it's a long, arduous thing of them just trying to get to this elevator with the damage that they've taken. They get on the elevator. Eventually, Megan, even though she's damaged, gets her body parts that he lost. Megan. Christopher Lord, with Megan's powers, his arm gets like taken off and he has to put it back on. And I think Martians can pull body parts back together with their shape-shifting skills. So I let it happen. And they get on the elevator and they ride themselves up to the top, to the surface of this facility. They find some workman's clothes, and they realize the name of the company that runs this facility is Dharma, which you might remember from Lost. Yes, this is part of this world that we play in just for fun, to see what people can do with their imaginations. After the guys have got these Dharma work suits on, they leave the Dharma facility and go into New York City section of Varsity. As they're traveling north, maybe they think they're going towards where the Baxter Building, maybe Central Park. Christopher Lord mentally runs across the villains. The villains are here too. The villains from Earth 210 who have teams, and they are in the bot. They have the powers of some of the villains, not villains on their teams, but some of the people that they recruited, and some of them may not be villains. Like Darkseid's got Shazam's body. Slade Wilson's got Apocalypse's powers. And Magneto has Joel's powers with summoning the light sword and be able to heal from damage. Well, they're in the upper parts of the Empire State Building, going to a floor that these guys are heroes, get into the Empire State Building, dealing with security and all sorts of things just to try to get into this building. Now, this is a 2016 version of Varsity, so they have problems with police are everywhere, because since 9/11 there's a lot higher security in New York City. And so as as the bad guys are going up this elevator en route on a mission that they were briefed on before when they arrived in this dimension, Alex decides to use the teleportation again and teleport into this elevator. Because he's closer, he is able to have also other mutants' powers, which Apocalypse powers as well as Joel's powers. And because it's kind of complicated, so if you have any questions, I can do more explanation of this. He teleports into this room, and immediately they go to attack this guy who just popped in, and he fights back, trying to use telekinesis, and that Apocalypse has telekinesis as well as telepathy. He uses that against them, finding that this isn't defeating them because they have also the Shazam guy body. He tries to teleport everybody just 5 feet up. in other words, to do a lot of damage to them with Blink's circle that goes around her that hurts things and people. Well, it does a lot of damage to them, and they fall down. They're really hurt. Even though they all have regenerative skills, Shazam's body that Darkseid's inhabiting is also a TL, a Time Lord, and the Empire State Building is a time spot. So he's healing from the damage like near instantly. Well, as this is going on, they reach the floor that they needed to be on or to exit, and long story short, that they separate. The Shazam gets out, and even Darkseid threatens to eventually take out Alex's team back on 210. In which Alex tries to kill him, but that doesn't happen in time. And the other heroes, Christopher Lord, gets up there and he tries to attack him from outside to get to the elevator. Anyway, Slade is getting further into this building and closer to his mission, and it says to Alex, "You guys didn't even check what your mission was when you came out of those cloning tubes or whatever." Alex like, "What?" And he teleports down to where that was. Unfortunately, realizing that since he's got Hope Spaulding's powers, that he loses the other mutants' powers that he was around, and now he has no powers. But hey, he's back there, and maybe he'll be able to do something. We'll figure it out. But Christopher Lord fighting against Darkseid and his Shazam powers right outside the Empire State Building's elevator. And then that's where that segment lends off. And we go from there to, because Frank joins with us, and we go to Cleveland. Still on day 2, probably mid-morning time frame. As we last left our heroes, we're in the county of Hastings and in New Asgard. Thor and his wife Holly headed to the Longhouse where they had partied the previous night to meet the knowing that exists in, because each of the realms in each of the castle areas, there's a knowing that they can talk to. So he meets this knowing and asks her a lot of questions, mostly about dragons. And you got to understand that when heroes or any of the royalty are talking to the knowing, they have the power to pull knowing scrolls. And these scrolls that come out from their sleeves, information is put on those scrolls by an actual knowing. And the knowing, in this case, is another Joel that is in Earth 4's Cleveland, which is a pre-Cleveland. And this Cleveland that everybody is in is Cleveland with a D at the end, to make specifically sure we don't run into. It's where all these trademark characters that they've adventured with live alongside them. So Joel, in the body of Thor with Holly, asking these questions to a knowing who's getting the questions from another Joel in another world, getting the answers from me. He puts them on the scrolls in a certain way. Basically tell them, don't mess with dragons, they kill. Thor's son, James Lord, he also explores the city/village of New Asgard. And then we go from there to the March. The Marquis talks to his wife Madeline strongly about supporting Connor up in Zelda and the other elven cities that were previously occupied by the Camelot Crusader army. The Marquis Alex says that they should probably let their daughter Chloe lead the elven army and bring them to Zelda and helping them to reinforce the city, because without the knights there, they Nothing but women and children to protect. Women can protect, but little elvish children, not so much, maybe. Next is we go down to Clefland, where most of the city's adventurers are supposed to be. My son Chris was sleeping for most of our gaming sessions, so he doesn't get much gaming here. But Carter, one of Chris's other selves, who is the Lord Commander of the city guard, calls his son CJ. CJ has ability to be able to look into the past. When CJ shows up, the two new half Martians that are in town, Matt and Elise, mentally realize that their friend CJ that they grew up on Red World is here in town, and they go and join him at the South Gate, where Carter and the other city guard believe that Qin-Si, the dragon, exited. Carter wants to make sure that this dragon took off. And CJ, using his powers, looks through history and says, yes, Qin-Si shapeshifted into a young man and exited out of the southern city gate and into the river, thus escaping death and destruction like the donkey didn't make. Donkey got killed as the donkey left. Anyways, so some farmer's dealing without his donkey. So they find that out, and CJ, Matt, and Elise say, hey, why don't we go hang out at Ray's Rock House in America? And America is a small section of Clefland, and if you want to know more about Clefland and this place that I created 30-some years ago, leave a comment in a block, and I'll get back to you. I'll try to make a video or something. That'd be cool if people answered. Next, we go down to the Duchy, and the Duchy of Mifflin. The Duke's son Seth is got control of Juno, his lightning ship, and on board is Floki and Jupiter's wife Del. Seth drops off Jupiter and his wife in Babylton so they can be reunited with Jupiter's father, Hercules, and family. And then Seth takes Floki and drops him off at the Tower of Science in Mifflin. We play a little bit of Caitlin and the other people that are in the Tower of Science. Seth's brother Ryan's, and Ben Riley. They're all there in the Tower of Science. Floki joins back there and reacquaints with his robot that he built, his android. And we play also in Mifflin. Duke Frank, he gets his daughters Crystal, Chella, and Petra, and he takes them out into the city to adventure a little bit. His sons Dom and Lucky go to Blackjack's Tavern, meet people, and adventure a little bit. Party. Basically, they're young royals and without an assignment. So, Seth then takes Juno and flies up to Clefland. He wants to see what this is all about, and he's got Dad's ship, so why not? When he gets up to Clefland, on the way to Clefland, he sees an old black tower, like a haunted-looking black tower, just a mile or so southeast of Clefland. He wants to check it out. Something about this tower. And Frank kind of remembers when he was gaming this some 25-some years ago back in Japan, that he created a tower like this. So he's gaming his son and has his son check out the tower. Little does his son know that when he jumps out of Juno through the vehicle stowage, there's a ramp, and he jumps out into the garden around the tower. It's like this real haunted garden that tries to kill anything living. And he barely escapes. Juno wraps a towing cord around him and pulls him back up with barely. like I said, barely escaped. He's pale white. Like, oh my gosh, these like bones were coming out of the grass and trying to grab him and pull him into the ground. He didn't. He wasn't able to make it through and to get into this tower. Very scary, and we still don't know what's going on with the tower. Frank is wondering, well, what happened to this tower? It was someplace that he created decades ago, and we'll find out maybe next week. We don't know. This is a whole crazy adventure. Well, 20 minutes in, and hope you guys didn't mind all the uhs. I'm still working on those, and we would love for some comments below or subscribe. I don't have half any of my friends really subscribing because they live this. They don't really need to see what happened. I'm using this as a journal, vlog, whatever, of our gaming. Maybe some of the other people that play will be interested. We really still like to have a cartoonist that would want to do all the art for this. I see like other people that do art and stuff, and I really don't have the time to figure it out yet. I'm not much of an artist. Oh, it's all up here in the brain. I need to put it in words. Help me out. Au revoir. Till we meet again.